Have you ever felt like your opponent just walks through your defenses like a ghost? That is because you don't understand how to cut and how to connect and how to fight. This game is an example of two noobs playing Go. There's a white stone here, there's a white stone here, there's a white group here, there's a white group here, and none of them are connected to each other, and this white group is about to die. Look at black. Same for black. There's a group over here, group over here, this group is about to die, this stone is separated from this entire group, and there's a group over here not connected to this corner, and this corner is not connected to the side. And that is a game between two Go noobs. If your board looks like a crime scene with dead groups everywhere, congratulations, you just played yourself. I'm going to teach you how to actually cut and connect your stones properly and how to manage them. Before we get into the juicy stuff, I'm going to show you an example of a game played between two high-level players. White has a solid base over here, solid base over there. This group died for a reason. This group have a territory, this group have a territory, this group is pretty much safe, and this group is pretty safe. There's not stones scattered across the whole board, every stone is doing their own job. And if we go further into the game, you can see even though there was a fight going on, black and white, both players manage the stones properly. And both players have secured their stones and there is no weaknesses. They take care of one group at a time before going into the next fight. Now it's time for me to teach you the basics of cutting and connecting. This simple concept will guide you from the beginner at a 30Q all the way to professional 910. So watch this video carefully and I'll show you examples from beginner, intermediate, and advanced. The first thing you must learn to identify are cutting points. So cutting points is when there's a place on the board where if one does not respond or save it, they can be cut off by their opponent. For example, after white plays this exchange, push, black connects, there is a cutting point on e4. There is also for white a cutting point on c7. So if white decides he realizes a cutting point and saves this cutting point by playing a tiger's mouse, there's many ways to save it, I will show you later on. And black does not see this cutting point and black plays somewhere else. Then white can decide to cut off black's two stones and separate them. This is the start of a fight. If black simply backs down and decides to give white all of the corner, then white has happily profited from this cut, reduced black's territory, and exchange stole black's territory and converted into white's territory. So beginners, if you see a cutting point, you must identify whether this cutting point is strong or weak. This cutting point is extremely weak. So black has to connect to save the cutting points. Here is a position. And I want you guys to pause for a second and tell me and count how many cutting points are there for white and how many cutting points are there for black. I'll give you 3 seconds. In this entire position, there are only one cutting point that works. And I want you to try to find that as well. If you've identified 2 cutting points for black and 4 cutting points for white, then congratulations, you have found the correct answer. But there is 2 obvious cutting points for black. One over here and one over here. But these 2 cutting points, although they are cutting points, they have no threat because these cutting points does not work. The reason is, if white cuts over here, it looks like black is in danger, these 3 stones are in danger. But if you know some basic Go capturing techniques, you'll realize this keystone, this is not a random stone, this is a keystone between these 2 groups because this stone cuts off these 2 groups. So this is a keystone. You can capture the keystone with a ladder, like this. And after this sequence, this whole group is safe again. So rule number 1 to a cutting point. If the stone can be captured, the cutting stone, then the cutting point is safe. Same as this example. If white cuts over here, black can simply capture this stone in a ladder or a net, and black is completely safe. Let's flip it to black. There are 4 cutting points, as I said. There's one over here. Tell me if that works. If you said no, congratulations. Yes, because white can simply capture the group in a ladder. and black will be dead. Does this cutting point work? No, it doesn't work as well, because simply white can capture the black stones. How about this cutting point? If you said that's a cutting point and you said it's going to work, congratulations, you are officially a certified 100Q Go player. Yeah, because simply white can just capture. So this is not a cutting point. Is this a cutting point? Yes, this is the only cutting point that works. White's 3 stones are being cut off from this group, and white has to try and connect to this group to save the 3 stones. And black's keystone is completely safe. If white Ataris, black can connect. So black's keystone is completely safe, and therefore white's 3 stones, original 3 stones, are in danger. Now I will show you how a cutting point works in an advanced Go position. So this game is played between 2 high dan players, 5 and 6 dans. And after they play the opening, they start a middle game fight. In this position, white pushes, black blocks, and can you help me find the cutting point? Yes, L7. L7 is the cutting point. White brutally cut black off. Black tries to escape, trying to threaten this stone, but white, being the sneaky high dan Go player, sacrifices the 1 stone in the center and cut off the black's tail. And all of a sudden, all of these black stones are dead. Now here we have 4 positions. Black's all 4 corners have a serious and weak cutting point, and I want you to find the best and correct answer for each of them. So starting off with the bottom corner over here. Now pause for a second and think where is the correct move. If you thought about connecting here, well, you just lost 4 stones. And if you thought about connecting here, well, too bad, you just lost your tail. So none of these 2 works. So where is the right move for black? So in this situation, these 2 groups, you need to make a shape where black can utilize this stone to connect the top and connect the bottom. And the right move is here. That's called a bamboo joint. You see, it's like a magnet, right? If white pushes over here, you can block over here. If white pushes over here, you can block over here. So this is a bamboo joint, and this connects your entire group. Moving on to the top left corner over here, there is a serious cutting point over here. And let me tell you, there are at least 4 different ways to connect it. So obviously the connection is over here, you can connect over here. If you want a more aesthetic shape, you can use a tiger's mouth. If white goes in, haha, you baited him and you capture the 1 stone. Or if you want to be even more elegant and you want to be pretty, you can use a nice move. Well, you tell me, oh, this is a cutting point. Well, guess what? This is not a cut. This cut is a scam. The reason is if white cuts, white's going to end up being all dead in the ladder. Moving on to the top right corner. How many cutting points are there? If you said 2, congratulations. There are 2 cutting points. And what is the most and best way to connect the 2 cutting points? If you connect here, well, white can still aim at the cutting points, create some weakness, create some uncomfortable situations for you. And if you play over here, well, white can probably create some uncomfortable situations over here and aim at this cutting point. So what's the best solution to connect 2 cutting points? That is by using a double tiger's mouth. This double tiger's mouth is so brutal and so effective. It's like a maximum security prison. If white ever tries to break in, bro, you're in prison. And if white tries to break in the other way, you get locked up either way and you're in jail and white's dead. So double tiger's mouth is the ultimate flex for connecting 2 cutting points simultaneously. Finally, down here, there is a very crucial technique which connects this cutting point but also utilizes the endgame. This one, you need to understand ladders. Seriously. If you just connect over here, yes, it's going to work, but it is not optimal for the endgame. So to make this more optimal for the endgame, this is not good. It's just the same as a connection. And if you tiger's mouth over here, well, too bad, your whole corner is being stolen. Alright? So in this position, like this move from white, they are trying to break down your walls and they try to go into your territory and go into your house. But guess what? You're smart enough. You know how to set traps. You know your house too well. You don't connect or no tiger's mouse. You simply extend or descend. This descent works so well. It's like giving white a false exit in a horror movie. If white tries to cut, what do? Do you know how to capture with a ladder? I'm sure you know how to capture with a ladder right now. If you don't, go back to my video about ladders and nets and watch that video again. This move is so good, it's a Sigma and the most alpha Giga Chad move in this position. Because white cannot cut. If white cuts, you can take him to the shadow realms and destroy him over there. So this move is so efficient, it protected your whole corner, aims to go inside white's territory, and at the same time protects your cutting point. This is the ultimate connection. Recap, there are all these types of connections. Direct connection, tiger's mouse, double tiger's mouse, knight's move, bamboo joints, and also connecting with a net. Here I'll show you one puzzle where you give the bait, you bait white by sacking a stone, sacrificing a stone, so it weakens the entire white group and you're able to cut white off. So in this position, what do you think you will do for black? Give you 3 seconds. This, to warn you, it is a 4-dan problem. If you saw that plane over here, then white has simply connected all of their stones, and that is wrong. If you saw that pushing over here, white can simply play there and connect all the stones. That is also wrong. If you thought about making a net, white can do the same thing. If you connect at the bottom, white can simply Atari your keystones and connect. So you might wonder, what is the right move? What move can I make to weaken all of white's position? This move, what I'm about to show you, is complete and utter brutality. The correct move, black plays S16. This isn't just about a cut or making a weakness. This is an entire surgical position. White doesn't even know he's dead yet. So what is white going to do? If white connects this cutting point, well, you simply attach over here. If white tries the same thing, you now have an Atari. So white has to capture, and you can simply extend, and this point and this point, you can choose one to connect. So white cannot cut both of them off. What if white connects over here? Well, now you can push. White cannot block here because it's cut. White has to extend, block. Now you Atari these 4 stones. These 4 stones goes back and you capture the 1 stone, and all of a sudden, all of white is dead. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a whole video of cutting and connecting. Different kinds of cutting, different kinds of connecting, and how you can utilize them in your actual games. Now, get out of here, watch another video and improve your Go.